In the heart of Horizon, a city carved from marble and fueled by the sharpest of greeds, a mystery lived in the shadows. Here, every merchant's heart was a ledger of debts, and every citizen's eye sought only their own gain. Yet, amidst this cold pursuit of gold, the lowest among them did not perish. Theron, a beggar with nothing to his name, sat by the temple gates. He posed a question to the wind. In a city where no one gives for free, why does the beggar still find bread? Why is he wrapped in silk while the powerful seek to starve their rivals? The answer began in the high ateliers of the silk district. There lived Lysander, the master weaver. He was a man whose soul was threaded with ambition. He did not wake at dawn to clothe the naked or protect the cold. He woke to amass weights of silver that would make kings tremble. To Lysander, every loom was a machine to turn thread into power. His hands were calloused, not by the grace of charity, but by the relentless pursuit of perfection that commanded the highest price in the city. For years, Lysander held the city in a silken grip. He kept his technique secret and his prices high, demanding 10 weights of silver for a single tunic. He sold only to the elite, for he believed that scarcity was the mother of wealth. He watched a wealthy merchant count out coins, a smirk of satisfaction crossing his face. Lysander did not care if the commoners wore rags. He cared only that his coffers remained full and his status remained unchallenged. But greed is a beacon that draws eyes from the shadows. In the narrow alleys nearby, a rival named Ceres watched Lysander's success with a burning envy. Ceres was younger, hungrier, and devoid of any sentiment. He did not wish to help the poor. He wished to be the one taking the silver from the rich. He realized that if he could find a way to weave faster and sell for less, he could steal Lysander's customers and build a palace of his own. Ceres did not wait for permission. He hired his own weavers, pushing them to work through the night. He innovated, creating a new shuttle that flew across the loom with twice the speed of the old ways. He put out a sign in the square, "Fine silk, 5 weights of silver." He wasn't acting out of a desire to make the city beautiful. He was acting out of a desire to see Lysander fall. He wanted the market for himself, and he knew the only way to get it was to serve the people better than his rival. The news of the lower price hit Lysander like a blow. He sat in his quiet atelier, fuming as his wealthy patrons began to drift toward the house of Ceres. He realized his monopoly was shattered. To survive, Lysander had to change. He could no longer be lazy with his riches. He gathered his senior apprentice and commanded him to find a way to make their silk even more exquisite while lowering the cost. "We must outwork him," Lysander hissed, "or we will rot in the streets." The War of the Weavers transformed the city. As Ceres and Lysander fought for dominance, they inadvertently created a miracle. The price of silk plummeted from 10 weights to 3, then to 1. Quality soared as each man tried to out-detail the other. Ceres stood outside his shop, handing a sample of his finest weave to a skeptical customer. He smiled, not because he liked the man, but because every sale was a victory over Lysander. Eventually, the market reached a point of such efficiency that even the scraps of the great weavers were of higher quality than the best clothes of the past. One day, a young child, the son of a laborer, found a discarded cloak in a bin, a piece Lysander had rejected for a minor flaw. The child brought it to Theron, the beggar. Theron took the silk, its warmth shielding him from the evening chill. He looked at the rich fabric, the result of 2 men's hatred and greed, and finally understood. Lysander stood on his balcony, looking out over a city where almost everyone now wore fine fabric. He was still a wealthy man, but he was no longer the only one. He realized that in his quest to crush Ceres, he had been forced to clothe the entire city. He had served the public good more effectively than any council or king. Not because he intended to, but because the market gave him no other choice. His self-interest had been the very hand that lifted the city up. Theron pulled the crimson silk tighter around his shoulders. He looked up at the towering ateliers and the bustling crowds. The weaver's paradox was clear to him now. The baker's bread and the weaver's silk did not come from the kindness of their hearts, but from their regard for their own lives. In the chaotic dance of competition, a hidden order emerged, an invisible hand that guided the selfish to act for the benefit of all. The city was fueled by greed, and yet the beggar was warm.